In 2008, when the team at Treyarch was making World at War, they knew they wanted to add a new game mode beyond just campaign and multiplayer. There was some drama about what exactly that mode should be. There's a really good blog post by one of the developers, Jesse Snyder, who kind of details all the struggles the team went through trying to make this third mode, and the passion that they had to put in to get the mode out the door. Ultimately, what did ship on the disc was a secret mode that played after the campaign, called Nazi Zombies, and that map that started it all is what we're going to be looking at today. Nacht der Untoten.
This is where it started, Strike Team. Let's get some answers.
Just the name of the map itself kind of gives you a hint of what's to come and also references the media that's come before it. So the map name is German for Night of the Undead, which is directly evocative of one of the very first mainstream zombie movies, 1968's Night of the Living Dead, directed by, of course, George Romero. And the similarities there go beyond just the fact that there's zombies in both of them. The gameplay on Nacht is very similar to the vibe those old classic zombie movies give off. Especially in World at War, there's this very real feeling of powerlessness. Just like those zombie survival situations, you're trying to secure a small location, slowly, against an overwhelming horde.
Now, I'm going to board up the windows and the doors. Do you understand? We'll be all right here. We'll be all right here until someone comes to rescue us. But we'll have to work together. You'll have to help me. Now, I want you to go...
More than any other map in the series, this map is built explicitly a lot like a tower defense game. The bunker is a small enough space that the intention is for you to actually try to keep the zombies physically outside as long as possible by building up defenses and shooting them through the windows. And the hallways are claustrophobic enough that there's not a ton of room to maneuver around, so as soon as zombies do get inside, it's very stressful. That's something to be avoided. You yourself are trapped inside, you can't leave the bunker, so all you can do is rebuild those barriers to try to delay the horde's inevitable arrival. Right away, even for the rest of the maps that came out for this game and for future games in the series, map designs would get both physically bigger and more open. You would almost always be outside, no longer trapped inside a single building. This is probably for the best for the success of zombies as a mode. People want to see those bigger and better maps. But the design ethos that works so well for this particular map is that even though the bunker is just a little too big for you to have complete control over it, you still feel that illusion of ownership. You feel like in between each round you can always re-strategize, you can rebuild all the barriers, you can get ready for the next round and be prepared. From that Jesse Snyder blog, the other mode that was being suggested as a replacement for zombies was missing all the fundamentals of what makes a good tower defense game. You need to be able to buy stuff, rebuild, change your strategies, but most of all, you have to defend. In the other prototype, you were running and progressing through the level. In tower defense games, you're defending a particular area and you need to strategize. The fact that this is the idea that the map was designed with is hinted at through a couple of gameplay features that aren't really on any other maps as the design of the mode shifted from this hardcore tower defense idea. For example, all around the bunker are these red explosive barrels that you can use as high damage traps to start damaging zombies before they even touch your window defenses. If you watch the zombie pathing AI, a lot of the times zombies don't beeline straight for the closest window, but they instead take some time looping around the building to a further one. Ultimately, this means they spend more time outside, which encourages you to pick them off, again, before they can touch those window barriers. One of the very few unique resources on this map is the special weapons cabinet upstairs. It's given this place of honor, it has a lot of importance, arrows pointing to it, and then when you open it, you just get a sniper rifle. It almost comes across as a joke, unless you put yourself in the mindset of, again, like a classic zombie movie, sitting upstairs and sniping zombies as they appear down below. Again, zombies as a mode definitely wouldn't have gotten as big as it did if they had stuck to this hardcore tower defense genre, but that interesting point of view works really well as a unique experience for this particular map. Another iconic feature of Nacht is its level of difficulty, and that all comes from the fact that there are so few resources available to you as a player. Perks, pack-a-punch, a real wonder weapon, these things hadn't been invented yet. No Juggernog or Quick Revive means that if you get hit twice, at any round, your solo game is over, no questions asked. You don't have any way to increase your weapon power, fire rate, anything like that, and you definitely don't have access to anything that can do infinite damage, so it's inevitable that at some point you physically will no longer be able to kill the zombies. Now, the ray gun is here, it is a wonder weapon, but it's also more likely to create crawlers than outright kill, and also the splash damage, especially in World at War, is really risky for the user, so it's definitely not an instant win gun. Those claustrophobic indoor spaces mean that while it's not impossible to maneuver around and maybe even train zombies, it's definitely not an easy prospect. Just getting to that point where you can see the round counter tick over from those tally marks to digits is a fair accomplishment in and of itself, and seeing any higher than the 30s takes some real skill when that camping in a corner strategy starts to fail. Now, that bare bones nature also has some advantages built in. While the map isn't easy, it is simple. There's no setup stage you have to get through before you can get into the main game loop. For example, because there's no power, there's obviously no quest to turn on power, so you can just skip that entirely and get to killing zombies. Once you open that single door to the mystery box, you have access to every single resource you're going to get for the rest of the game. That's it. As maps continue to get more and more complex with elaborate quests to unlock power, then pack-a-punch, maybe specialist weapons, this really beautiful simplicity of Nacht is thrown in starker relief. This was a map that anyone could pick up, which was again built into the design because they would throw you into it right after you finish the campaign. The accessibility and easy to understand flow of these early maps was crucial to the success of growing zombies as a mode. There are only a handful of new concepts a player has to grasp to be able to play this map. First of all, the zombies formula was defined here, so everyone learned that you kill zombies, you get points. You can then use those points to buy weapons off the walls or open doors, which in this first map all that would do is give you more weapons to buy off different walls. The one new resource on this map was the mystery box, which again was pretty simple to understand. You would gamble your points and you would get a random weapon. You could get something as bad as a revolver, or something as good as an otherwise unobtainable ray gun or LMG. Every once in a while you would see zombies drop power-ups. Right now there are only 4: insta-kill, nuke, max ammo, or double points, all of which are pretty self-explanatory after you see them in action. And that's it. Once you understood the point system, you basically knew everything you needed to know. The rest was just a matter of actually mastering the gameplay. In the end, World at War Nacht der Untoten is a really unique experience because of that simplicity. The Zombies mode would grow in various directions away from that rigid tower defense inspired design of that first map, but that core still has ripple effects on every map that's made to date. It's really fitting that Nacht is the center of Revelations, surrounded by all the fragments of other maps. It's positioned physically at the center, but it's also metaphorically the heart of all the maps that came after it. In fact, Nacht has been brought back and referenced more than any other map in the mode. It was ported over to Black Ops for the Resurrection DLC. It was at the end of the Corn Maze in Transit in Black Ops 2. It's again the center of Revelations, and it was also remade for that game's Zombie Chronicles. In Zombie Chronicles, it has all the Black Ops 3 amenities, which change the gameplay a lot, and a lot of the tower defense and difficulty comments I've made in this video don't really apply. Then in Cold War, it jump-started its second timeline when it was the spawn area for Die Machine, and it also is a minigame in the arcade in Forsaken. Both players and developers recognize that this map is a classic, and that's not just because of the nostalgia of it. The map was very carefully designed, which is what enabled this new mode that no one had ever heard of, that was not advertised at all before release, that a couple of people were working on in their spare time from working 80-hour work weeks on the rest of the game, that this new mode was able to become as successful as it has been and has become a fan favorite mainstay of the series.